This is KAJUKENBO Live, coming out of South Lake Tahoe, California. I'm your host tonight, Senior Grandmaster Jimenez from the Worldwide KAJUKENBO Federation. What I'm going to do for the next probably month is I'm going to go down and have short shows on different martial arts people that touched me my way up through the ranks, and pretty much spend a lifetime with them. And I'm going to start off with great Grandmaster Charles Gaylord. As everybody knows, I started KAJUKENBO with Senior Grandmaster Vargas, but I'll get to a show with him, but today we're going to do great Grandmaster Gaylord. I met him probably in 1976 or 75, around there. I was still a young guy, and I remember he had to come to the studio in San Leandro, Senior Grandmaster Vargas' studio, and the whole class was like, "Oh, because Gaylord, that strong name, like, oh my God, he's the man, So I remember we were all sitting around. He come in, big as life, strong looking. He had dark hair back then, and one of the students had done something wrong, and so he talked to us all and gave us philosophy on what needed to be done and stuff. And so that was about probably the first time I met him and stuff. And then a few years later, I had left Senior Grandmaster Vargas over a dispute. And I used to, like I said, back then I used to compete a lot, and I was all over the place competing and stuff. And I remember it was in San Francisco or Reardon High School, and I was at a tournament, and I just took in the grand champion. And I remember one of Jim Ware's black belts came up to me and said, Professor Gaylord wants to meet you. We called him Professor back then. We didn't call him Grandmaster. So I'm like, me? So of course, I'm like, you gotta be kidding, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna really get it, because I know him and Vargas was kind of close at one time. So I thought he was gonna yell at me or whatever. So I said, okay. And I remember him walking up, and like usual, big as life, and he says, hey, he goes, Jimenez, he goes, I hear a lot about you, and I've been watching you lately. He goes, tell me what's going on. So I told him the whole story, and he was just like, oh, I'm not going to repeat exactly what he said, but he more or less, F that guy, In fact, he goes, I want you to be under me from now on. You would be my black belt. At that time, I was only a student black belt. And I'm all, you're kidding. And he's all, yes. I go, that'd be an honor. And then he had a studio in Fremont. And he's, you come Monday to my studio in Fremont. We'll talk. I said, okay. So I went up there and had the long stairs getting up there, and he had a lot of students at the time. And a lot of black belts were helping him and stuff. So we sat in the office for quite a long time just talking about, what's going on, the martial arts, what happened and stuff. And then he asked what degree I was, and I told him student black belt, how long. I told him. He goes, no. He goes, you need to be higher than that. He goes, that's ridiculous. He goes, that's just... he called him Vargas. That's just Vargas playing games. He goes, so you come back Wednesday. You bring your students. Because I had a small studio at the time. He goes, and I'm going to promote you. I said, really? And he's like, yes. He goes, you'll be under me from now on. You'll only answer to me. And again, here's this big guy, sitting there, as big as life, sitting on his chair in his office. I said, okay. So Wednesday I came. And I brought my students, and at that time, I think I had like 20 students, maybe 25, just starting out with my own studio. And he brought me up, and on top, he had this little platform at the studio, and he brought me up there, and he promoted me to my second degree. He skipped my first degree and gave me a second degree, which was even more of a big honor. And so... I'm okay, great, that's good and stuff, and I appreciate it. And then, of course, you had the initiation, and you had probably about, 25 more black belts there. And back then, we didn't whip anybody with the belts. That just never happened. I just later on started happening. But so I had these 25, 27, whatever they were, black belts come up and kick me, punch me, hit me in the stomach. But of course, I was in good shape and stuff, so it's no big deal. And then I remember because I used to always jump back in a horse stance, and I remember to this day, I remember that voice. Oh, you want more, huh? You want more? Because most type of guys fall over, grab their stomachs, can't breathe, right? Of course, I wasn't that way. And so, I said, no, Professor, but I'm ready for if you have more. So he didn't, so he brought me up, and that's how that kind of started, being under him. And then I remember I was having the first black belt class. It was in his course studio in Fremont. And back then there was no brown belts. It was just all the head of all the studios went, like myself, Jim Morez, Brian Yoshi, Pete Morales, some of his black belts. And I can't remember the others. Bill Gifford, I think. Anyway, John Casada. I remember the first night we were there, everybody was just pounding the shit out of everybody. A lot of the egos and stuff. So he made us put all our belts on the rail. He goes, now you guys are all the same. He goes, nobody's higher than the other way. But again, the black belt class was pretty violent. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, we do a punching attack or a technique. We usually didn't hold back. You smack the person. I mean, you hit him. And then, so then he had a black belt class once a month. And then he started having it at different studios. Like 1 month he'd have it at, let's say, Yoshi Studio. The next month he'd have it at Juarez's studio. Next month he'd have it at my studio. Next month he'd have it at Pete Morales' studio. And hand to hand, just it kind of went all over the place. It was kind of cool, because every month you went to a different studio to work out in. And then later on, he wanted it just to be at Jim Morez's studio, and that was fine. So for years we had it at Jim Morez's studio, and that was good for that part. And then later on, when him and Dolores had their problems, he switched the black belt class to my studio. Probably the last 2 or 3 years, he made it that every month everybody came there and stuff. Plus he liked my back office and stuff, have a little nip, but that's the way it was. But I spent most of my life with under Grandmaster Gaylord. More than half my life. I'm 66 now, so it's way more than half my life I spent under Grandmaster Gaylord. And we had a special relationship. It just wasn't a karate or a punch type thing, he'd call and I'd always hear that voice, Tony, Professor, and then we'd talk about what he needed to be done, talking about some personal things and stuff. But he always came to me if he needed something done, like when he wanted his 10th degree. His exact words was, Tony, make me a 10th degree and make it happen. So I did. I went to all the heads of the studios, and like I said before in a podcast, that everybody agreed. Of course, yeah, 10th degree. He's a Gaylord method. He's been around a long time. He's a legend. And all except for one said no, but he got overridden, and that day he got his 10th degree in front of his students and stuff. And in the black belt classes, like I said, they were pretty violent, and then one day he choked out one of Juarez's students in a van. He just choked him out, and that's the only time I really seen Jim Juarez get kind of mad because he did that, because he could have really hurt him. So they brought him into class, they brought him into the office, and they talked to him and said that he needed to lighten up. Because when you worked out with great Grandmaster Gaylord, he didn't hold back. He'd always have this one ring on his hand, and he'd punch you right in the face. Pow! He didn't care. You know, in fact, one of my black belts was his, the partner, and he put me in punch, and he punched him right in the cheek really hard. After black belt, he comes in there whining, look at my face, and you can see exactly the imprint of his ring, the little circle and everything. He had a green stone in it. You know, but that's the way it was. So when you worked out with Great Grandmaster Gaylord, you needed to like really tighten up, you know. And I remember Dale Delacruz told me one year that when they first, this is when it wasn't even in court, I was only a little kid, that they started with Gaylord in San Leandro, and they called him Charlie. They go, that Charlie's a crazy motherfucker. He goes, man, we'd be sitting in set position in line. He'd just walk up behind you, pow, fucking just drop you to the ground. No reason. He goes, he's crazy. He goes, he goes, half of us quit when took Taekwondo. I started teasing him because he did that. But he said, yeah, he goes, but the ones that stayed, man, they were tough. So in the past, anytime you hear Gaylord's black belt, you thought, whoa, Gaylord's black belt, you know, because of the way Gaylord trained and stuff like that. I remember several times, you know, I had different events going, you know, just not karate, and I'd always have my limousine pick him up and bring him to the events. So, you know, he enjoyed that and stuff, and you know, and we opened up a studio in Reno, and you know, we flew him up. You know, I think Jim Williams came with him and stuff. You know, but like I said, we had a special bond. You know, that most instructors don't have. You know, they just talk about karate and that's it, and then you leave. You know, I know when his wife Millie passed, it really devastated him. And he called me one day. I was driving into the studio in San Leandro, and he was upset, really upset. And asked if I'd come stay with him for a while, and during the week, because he didn't want to be alone. And I just had a baby with my ex-wife, and then I just couldn't. I had a studio, so I couldn't go. I said, maybe on the weekends, Professor, but I can't go during the week. And that's when Mark Geary stepped in the picture and went over there, and we won't go there. But that's when all that happened. And like I said, it was just a very hard time for him when he had gone through that. But, you know, teaching-wise, he put out some, you know, some good black belts. He taught good black belts. And this is the good thing. A lot of instructors, when they get older and stuff, they'll sit in the chair, or actually they can't move very good because of something that's wrong with them. He wasn't that way. Every black belt class, he was out there teaching. In fact, he came to my studio once a month, too, on the side, and taught a class, my black belts. But he was out there doing it. He didn't sit down and go, you know, and just point and do stuff. He was out there, punching, kicking, and for an older guy, he was pretty sharp, you know. But he was a funny guy. We were testing one of my brown belts for black belt, and at that time he was like 5-time California state champion heavyweight. So I had informed the guys, his sparring partners, for a test. I said, he's going to hit you guys. I go, so whoever wants to do it, you're more than welcome to be his partner, but you don't have to. I'm not going to force you. Of course, nobody said no. And I had one of my students, and the first one he sparred, Jim Burns went whack, and Gator was sitting in this. I had this like old-fashioned wicker chair, and I can hear the guy's jaw break, and I was like, oh. And so then the guy tells me, he said, Sifu, I think my jaw's broke. And I remember Gator would come, nah, you're okay. You get back out there. Next, you know, pow, he broke the other side. The guy spent almost 2 months in the hospital. You know, but that's just the old school. That's the way old school was taught. It's not like now. Trust me. You know, it's not like, you know, a babysitting thing or, you know, just little games you play to make extra money. Back in those days, we trained hard, and you trained hard and you got hit hard. And like I said, if you weren't bleeding, it wasn't a good class. That's just the way it was. You know, but you know, as time went on, you know, You know, I never left his side. When I had my disagreement with him, it was over him promoting one of my students, and over Mark Gary. And when I left, I didn't leave him. I left the old KAA, because I don't want to get into that, because nothing's ever done after all these years. So I get tired of the little game playing. So that's what I left. But I never really did leave him. And I remember him calling me up. No, don't leave the. Yeah, I want you to be the president. You know, because they don't know what they're doing, and you're the only one that's got any balls that will make it work. And da 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 da. But I was so upset. Maybe more of an ego thing. And because I kind of felt it kind of went behind my back a little bit on that. And I said, no, I'm just going to pull away. And I told him that. I said, I'm not leaving you. I will always be under you. Always. Till the day I die. Just I don't want to be part of the other part of it. So that's a misunderstanding. A lot of people thought that I had left him, and I did not. I did not disown his name, nothing. We were great friends. I just... and a good teacher, and I couldn't picture my life without great Grandmaster Gaylord. Because if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be here right now in the martial arts, and his guidance and everything. I've had like I said, other teachers that same way, and mentors growing up, and I'll get to their names during the month. But I just want to, focus that that's how I met him. And like I said, I spent more than half my life with him. So I was very lucky. I'm blessed, and to be able to say that he was my teacher and always will be my teacher. No matter what anybody says, he will always be my teacher. And I'll always have his heart here. And, to the martial arts, a great loss losing a man like that. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this little bit on Great Grandmaster Gaylord. My next one's going to be about Grandmaster Willis. That'll be out probably, let's see, today's Friday. Maybe Sunday or Monday I'll do that one. And like I said, just gonna be short ones, and the people that I met growing up through the martial arts, Al Novak, people like that, and a lot of martial arts legends, So again, I'm blessed that you guys can be able to see this video. Always in the end of my video, I'll have a trailer now. We're gonna put it on there with my phone number, our website. So if anybody has any questions or want to call me, you're more than welcome to do so. 24/7. I'm up with people all around the world all day, every day. So you feel free to call me and talk to me, and good or bad, and sometimes you'll see the grass is not greener on the other side. So again, this is KAJUKENBO Live. I'm Senior Grandmaster HEMENES from the Worldwide KAJUKENBO Federation. Until next time, I'll see you again.